And
Well.
commissioners, the meeting is live.
All right. Good morning. Welcome to the August 11th meeting, of the Raleigh County Commission. Please stand and join me in the I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public comments. Right, John.
Yeah, still trying to figure out how to pull all this stuff up. Okay. Thursday, post meeting, I met with Jacob Hansen here and Barry Wilkerson, Raleigh County Attorney, to discuss a few items of relevance and interest into dialogue on how to work on finding an applicable and legal solution for them. I think we had a pretty good dialogue. We'll just have to see how things go on those subject matters. Thursday afternoon, attended the August meeting of the Flint Hills Mental Health Task Force via Zoom. I was having a hard time with bits and parts of the meeting, technology sometimes. We did go through some of the task force community partner data, which included walk-in, local crisis, ER, jail assessments, adult and juvenile referrals, CSU admissions, voluntary and involuntary hospital visits, and just overall crisis. Other items included work on mobile crisis itself, still some onboarding issues. I don't say issues, onboarding things, I guess, with the 98 line. Bonnie keeps obviously working on the transition to the CCVHC model. Dialogue was also had in the upcoming town hall on the partnership with the community mental health centers taking place in the Clay Center Thursday evening, and the upcoming mental health summit taking place in Hayes with the Zoom cohorts on August 26th and 27th. Friday morning, I met with Ben Leto and Peter from Make My Move, as well as Darren Sullivan and Allison Mead from the Chamber, discuss some details, ask some questions, have some of the concerns that have been discussed addressed. Looks like an announcement of those grant funds becomes early as the end of this week. Just as a heads up, that'll be coming from State Treasury. There's also a draft MOU coming from Make My Move that could be helpful. And they are working on some kind of a kickoff meeting that will hopefully explain the path forward a little bit more in depth and what all those things are going to take. So that's all upcoming. We're spending on how those grant funds are distributed. Maybe as early as the end of this week. Friday night, attended the Flint Hills Volunteer Center's annual volunteer banquet at Project Hall. Very well attended once again. Entertainment provided by Jeff Davison and dinner catered by Texas Roadhouse. Very delicious, as you can probably imagine, with a lot of amazing door prize gifts that were given out as well. Just a good way to say thanks to all the local volunteers. Had some of those volunteering for as long as 40 years. So just to put that out there. Spent the rest of the weekend watching quite a bit of preseason NFL. Good to have some football back. Watched my Jaguars Saturday night. I know it's just preseason, but wasn't really impressed. Not really having too much expectation, but 12 days, Rich. 12 days. So catching up and getting ready for the rest of the week along with that as well. So
Okay. Well, let's see. Thursday afternoon, I had a meeting with Dennis Cook of the Aggieville Business Association to discuss a lobbying issue. The Aggieville merchants have not been happy with RCPD putting up barriers with lights every weekend at the discretion of the officer in charge. They're concerned with upcoming game weekends and other large events in the district. Told him that I would get the issue before the law board at our next meeting, which we do have. I haven't called Dennis back, but I think John Maddow was going to do that. So anyway, that afternoon I had a PT session. Therapist sent a progress report to my neurosurgeon on Friday. Later that day, I went up to Wildcat Creek Park for a walk with my dog. There's several big trees down on the trail that need to be removed, and also a lot of mowing that needs to be caught up with. So Got a hold of John today, see what's going on. So Friday, I did have an appointment with Dr. Wills. He told me to keep up the PT, stay active, and come back in 6 months. So no surgery at this point. Yay. That's a hard recovery, and I just, put it off as long as I can. So, let's see. That afternoon, I attended the pre-law board meeting at the police department. We went over the proposed agenda and added several issues, including the Aggieville leasing. Next meeting of the board will be in Leonardville on August 18th. Yeah. So and then after that, I went out to Fort Riley to renew my yearly pass, which I put off since April, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't take long.
It takes about 10 minutes.
I know.
They just I put a bunch of stuff and basically just bring the pass. That takes the longest.
Yeah, they always ask you, who's your sponsor? I said, well, it could be Bishop, it could be somebody else.
It's technically the gentleman at the hospital, but I just tell him Janet Nichols.
Yeah, I said it's either Nichols or Bishop. But anyway, I got it, so that's good. Weekend was pretty quiet, catching up on paperwork, and then I went over the agenda and documents for today's meeting. I still haven't been able to get into the phone app, so I need to talk to IT. And then Saturday early morning, I received 2 inches of rain, which I don't know if you guys got it over there. Yeah, it was just downpour.
Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday morning.
Oh,
Yeah, didn't get a whole lot of sleep. So anyway, that's about it for me.
We had about an inch. And it rained pretty hard this morning. I had.
Yeah.
So that's 1.35 on our rain app just said I got 0.33 on. Sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not. So
I got
that's saying
about 1.25 inches
Yeah.
from yesterday's rain. I don't think I got anything on Saturday. I don't know about this morning.
Yeah, well, it was raining this morning.
That doesn't flash floods as earlier.
That's what I'm concerned about. I've been watching.
Yeah. Well, on Thursday afternoon, I received a call from someone who just opened the new R&R statements, which has a lot of different information that people are trying to figure out. Most of our complaints were really about Manhattan and USC 383. Tried to explain to her that she writes the check to us, we're going to keep about 20%, 25% of it. She complained about the county being off on Fridays, and I said, well, but I said, well, they work longer during the week. She goes, oh, I don't believe that. Then she went off on school teachers making too much money since they only work 4 days a week. I don't know where that came from. Funny, one of the most unpleasant calls I've ever had in 5 years here. But other than that, I was working on the house all week. Go ahead.
I'm gonna get Vivian. I can't open my.
tech assistance.
I forgot how to open these phones. So
What are you trying to get to?
trying to get to the board game.
Just
Trying to. There we go. Is that the whole one?
let's see. I don't know if the draft minutes are in this one. Let's check.
But this is the whole, yeah, okay, great. I thought I hit that, but okay, thank you.
Minutes are on the second.
Good. I'm sorry.
First item we have is we need a motion to accept the notice of resignation by Emma Lupo as Ashland Township Clerk.
Well, I make a motion to accept Lawrence Clemens' resignation and appoint Emma Lupo as Ashland Township Clerk.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to accept Lawrence Clement's resignation and appoint Emma Luthold as the Ashland Township Clerk. All in favor?
Aye.
And next, commissioners. 5 steps. Next, commissioners have Raleigh County Employee Action Forms, James Ritter's promotion, Network System Administrator, ITGIS. Robin Emium, Newmeyer, intern, museum department, Aggie Howland, Newmeyer, intern, museum department. Hooker, on-call juvenile intake supervision, separation service. Henry Greenhouse, Newmeyer, seasonal labor, public works. Musil, Newmeyer, facilities, ground tech, public works. Wyatt both, Newmeyer, paramedic, EMS, ambulance department, all three please sign. So we'll sign.
It's seasonal. I don't know if you guys see this one, have the long form attached, so we didn't know that until after it was published, and yeah, it is a separation service.
For me.
Yeah. Yeah, and they attached the.
I was gonna ask, is that, okay,
Yeah, and I know you had a question about some of the hiring process for seasonal, so.
does it make sense this time of the year to hire?
Yeah, no, we didn't hire, we did separate, but I'm also talking with John, the supervisor, about kind of the concept of hiring seasonals and then we get up at that similar like you mentioned. John has some ideas on maybe doing that.
Good.
But I'm sure you guys the internal promotion for that team, so that's
Yeah.
great. And we could have a position, but that's for us because that person was already about.
Well, it's maybe you should find somebody in that position, it is a position I'm providing.
Yeah, and he has, he's 20 years experience, the higher base visa of veterans, he came on all experience, and he is also just very passionate about himself, like, for example, on call, he does his own server stuff. And also very it culturally in their environment, so. And they had well over 100 applications for that position. All in person, and maybe 5, 12, 6 in person interviews, so. It was a good home, but it's tough hiring process.
Congratulations for leaving people smile.
Yeah, I know, never seen for him, but I just know, I've got this.
It's a good fit for the organization.
Yes, very good.
Yeah, I know that one piece of paper, and I was like,
I kept trying to, got like two stuck together. The next.
It's on the mark, side, like, those, the really heavy duty paper.
It is.
It must be-
Conversation, it didn't.
Almost like a shot.
My second, there's two stuck together.
That's kind of much. I don't know if I gave the method was that.
Okay, the minutes, commissioners.
Well, Bravo, get them. Thank you. Sorry about that. I didn't see anything.
Yeah, I'm good.
Go ahead. Make a motion to approve the minutes as written from the August 7th meeting of the Raritan Commission.
Or second one.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the August 7th meeting as presented. All in favor? Aye.
Tentative agenda for the commissioners.
You're good on the 18th. You might want to mention to city not to put a hold up more on it. Because we have to get the bill for the.
Well, it's in the bill.
So no more on the 18th.
Well, you maybe have one more. I don't know what Jacob's. It's good. You're the last one there.
18,
Yeah.
right, we're doing that.
Oh, that's like.
She said something
It's
about
only
500 sessions.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Made a note on that.
I mean, we could
commissioners.
have another one, but it has to be short.
And I've actually expressed confidence. Okay, next time up, with unfollowed commissioners.
Just to make sure I'm tracking correctly. I'm opening the bill for the 18th.
That's law, that's law, it's here. Law, only, they just wanted to have the time to drive it. So you don't have to go, and I people should see. I just didn't want you showing up unless.
When I first started,
In their bill on there.
Where is it? Like,
That's. And even we in the city, then we go, you know, go to what's been before.
that's not easy.
Across the street, they took 1.5.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if this is, the city was open and you people,
They can.
they can.
Works all this regulation.
Now, so did some renovations.
Yeah.
To the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. He was at the bank with us, probably shot. So it's kind of interesting to go.
Oh, my God.
You know, a lot of the other. It is. Right.
For about 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't really argued one of the motions so far on that, since. It's cool so they're actually really funny tomorrow, the voting council is burned early. Just the hot pot.
It's also municipal. He's municipal training.
Yeah.
The same job.
You know, after it's
You
it's.
think about it. I mean,
That's good. You should be behind, you know, Senate.
This is, I mean, this is all over again.
Oh, yeah.
This is a rare case of speed up.
you know, we never know.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Little time.
One lives there.
We just wanted to let that maybe not, yeah, maybe we get some.
I was there, I think that's. So it's me and two.
Well, let's be a session with one. That was over and some.
We said it's interesting enough, the facts are.
Think about it.
You made over that, also one to generated lots. Which should do with the.
Think of it.
But. It's been law enforcement, there's a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of, was to an extent, unless it's like, unless you can clearly see that there's people.
Like, if you're walking, you're not going to people to confirm some payment.
And it's not really as much. So you're not actually taking you apart.
You told him that.
That's not property.
Yeah.
You don't actually, yeah. So, well, yeah, you do for. Yeah, it's right. And so it's like. It's beautiful. It's like these. Five people. So.
Right, that's the thing, now you're going to the criminal, just like you're getting off.
Mhm.
I was sure, yes.
At that time, we got to send it to 220. Meeting was at.
Oh, yeah, no, I know, and I know that either.
Go.
As far as on, all the is
Looking for.
not
Mistakes.
necessary, but I will get it.
Yeah, it seems like it's something you're gonna have to do, and that's the university, that's just.
One piece with.
Well, that's where the basis of the.
Stand here is that particular short-term rental properties, because some of the issues. That's the local.
Right, that's also something.
That's huge change, scale and service.
I mean, I'd like to learn more.
Think about it.
It's super.
That's what. What says on Facebook. And actually, they got all the city.
I think they do a little bit better maybe in municipalities just because people are kind of used to that. But in the rural side, it's so very involving, even though, one thing is to be there, they don't. 112 people on the property at the same thing. They like the tax.
I see it in front of me, my son, like, she went one way, I was there. It's already in the barns, I almost stayed already to the corn, trip, not to
But
yeah,
those are becoming very popular.
well, because there's so.
Well, there's two.
It's always so thinking, people are trying houses and stuff, well, and, but those managers, I don't think ever.
The city, but the city.
Ever had.
The city.
The issue for instance, relates back to what can a person do with their property? What is government status, right? You can't do
Right,
that.
where is it like property rights versus the community?
Yeah, and so there's always a balance, you said, so fits with that.
And also, obviously, there's an economic impact of there's such communities plus or minus, the government is there across from. Didn't you figure that, like, right, I was thinking of how she's. You're coming to. So, I mean, I'm sure they're not gonna turn for all kinds of support.
But then it takes some, and it takes.
Yeah. Maybe.
Housing prices.
Yes, I mean, right, there's all kinds of things to do, but also it's probably spend money all here. Like, I'm very sure do this game there now, it's a good time there, and obviously pay tickets for the game. I don't know, it's so nice.
I don't think so.
And not to say that English, that's the base, right?
So that's good.
But
So exactly, that's all I see.
Which makes
It
that
really takes the glory of the scientific protein science, yeah.
kind of
It's
this.
maybe the issue was being negative, but at that point of the time where there's challenges and issues almost outweigh the three poles.
it's kind of, the majority are okay, but there is an issue here. I don't think it's that much of a difference in like rural versus taxis, right? Like, it's.
And not here so much, depends on where you're at.
Wow, I really did working. No, they, because the code was one thing, but each one says that it's on it, you can also have different terms. Terms for different terms and interest rates. Well, you have to say that, it was something, yeah, now it's lots of cascade that, the thing, a lot of different bond issues.
That's how you can be, that was wrong, regulated.
Be interesting to see what's
Exactly, and that was in the pendulum, and now you're under that saying that you don't want to take that.
That was gonna be the best.
Sure, that.
We just understand
I'm resident.
what it is, the concept of what's being used for, so if we do have an issue like that, we know what's sent, we know. We need to send
Working on it.
EMT, paramedic, and paid work for 5 reasons, what do we need to send? So we're not lost in the fray.
So Greg, you know, the intent of that stall.
Like, if it's some, what kind of, they're gonna have, you know,
Just the actual.
It's a bit.
I think that's what and the breaking down, that's the goal that I should be doing. It's not all about.
That's really. Same one.
She's.
No, we can't.
Well, that's why it's not really.
Is she out there watching you or what?
Yeah, well, she was already upset in his Carly resource, it really does take later.
Yeah, it's, I think, I
30.
can't remember if
And
it's
so-
penalties or the state.
30.
It's right, it's only planning providers. What's complicated, it's on law. Violation.
We have 3 hours.
And,
I think.
Well, Carly wasn't there, she was the lunch and Joe, the other one.
Yeah.
Oh,
no. Two people in there, they go.
See something larger can be.
No, she was.
Essentially.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Right, no, I looked at the phone number.
That's what they did too. She never gave a name, so they put the phone number there.
Yeah, I don't understand. You know, you're talking to, so you know us when I'm talking.
Well, it's one thing to ask to be called back and have his questions
Right.
answered.
Well, I look at it just like previous commission looks to see, we used to have a suggestion drop box in that lobby of our building. And people would drop them in, but they wouldn't sign it. The commission publicly said, if you're not gonna sign what your issue is, so we can get back to you, then we're not going to address it, it goes to file 13.
yeah, and usually wise folks who get like the online submittal complaints. And if they ask questions and want to return it, they don't provide any information, say, NA, their name, or that, it's like, well, there's nothing really we can do, or there's no action we need to go, so.
What can you do? That's the question.
Yeah.
We
I can't verify any of the information, can't do that, so.
On that webpage, they don't always put their address, all that stuff. So,
Or they'll put us on the phone.
And then on the webpage, they have to submit an email. So they're,
Yeah, they'll do it, like, just
oh, okay, because they took something, yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
That evening.
Yeah.
They can get creative.
But is that got the address there? So far, all of that.
No,
We got a one time the Gmail spelled.
Like, Catherine, how you doing? Good.
is this still right now?
Yeah,
That's
just sprinkling.
Ready, commissioners?
Yeah.
Morning, Rich Vargo, Riley County Clerk. First document you have before you is the 2025 year-to-date wages and overtime compared to budget report. As you can see in the upper right-hand corner, point in time of the year is 58.33% point in time of the year has passed, and boy, did it go quick. That is what we use respectively is just a comparison budgetarily, approximately where departments should be. You should see in the far right-hand column, everyone's doing pretty good. We always look at and see in the overtime, the large amount with EMS ambulance. The overwhelming majority of that is budgeted and expected, of course, because they're a 7-day a week, 24 hours a day service, 365 days a year. So that's why that is high overall. In overtime, we're still just at 3.35% in that column, just a little bit to the right. So not bad overall. Commissioners have any questions on that page? Next page is a little bit more detailed breakout per department respectively between regular salaries and overtime, just to give the board a little more and seasonal labor, a little more detail. Any questions on those? Next report, same percent point in time. You can see those highlighted in the blue are those that are over that percentage. I'd like to point out the emergency management. That one's excessively higher than what's budgeted because they've received additional grants since budget was established. So that'll be something that Brittany will do a budget amendment at the end of the year. So they have the monies.
Those two questions.
Yeah, that one jumps out on you. Coroner, I wish we could control that. And just on corner, so the commissioners know, we've been notified and appreciate Jacob's help and Brittany's. We're working on getting a replacement corner because we've been notified that shortly after the end of the year, the Peterson Labs will no longer provide that service. Brittany's already done work on alternatives, and Jacob and Brittany and I are meeting on it to see what we can come up with.
Yeah, and at the pre-law board meeting, they were talking about the coroner, they're outsourcing all the autopsies, and that's what it cost. One of the reasons it cost.
Mhm. Yep. So we have a couple other prospects that we can get in line for that, hopefully. And we'll update the board when we do. Next, budget appropriations, of course, insurance at cyclical. Always like to point out 2 lines down from insurance, atypically low at the percentage is 20.91. County general. That's of course because we have the 4.25 million in there for budget stabilization. Any questions on that first page, commissioners? Next page, additional funds. You can see those that have exceeded. Of course, those will also, the one for sure that's over 100% will have a budget amendment at the end of the year. Those highlighted in that bold box, of course, are all related to community corrections, where we used to just have a line or two. Now we have all of those nicely broken out. You can see where they sit.
I did have a question there at the top of that. And I probably asked it before, I don't remember. What's disaster fund number 3?
So that's where we house all the ARPA funds. So
Okay.
that's, and I think,
That always was.
yeah, so that's why, I'm sure you have more than that budget amount left, but, that's just what we budgeted going into 2025.
Oh, that's
So we
okay.
don't know
Oh,
what we're
okay.
gonna spend in 2024.
I thought maybe that's what it was, but the numbers didn't look.
Yeah.
Right, this year. And
Yeah, we do have more money than that budget amount.
Okay.
That was just how we kind of budgeted,
Oh, okay.
midway through last year, so.
All right. Yeah.
Based on what we thought we'd expend this year.
Yeah.
Any other questions on that page, commissioners? RCPD, of course, you can see that number is concerning. That percentage at 74.57, commissioners. We'll go through some additional numbers down below here. I'll kind of point out my concerns. Any questions on the rest of it? Next page is all enterprise funds. Those are funds that do not collect any ad valorem tax dollars. It's all set up by special assessments and fees for individuals that live in and or own properties within those benefit districts. All of those are doing real good right now. Any questions on those? Next report, just a comparison respectively of all the departments, July to July and also year to date through July, just to give the commissioners a snapshot on how the departments are performing financially compared to the previous year. Not always an apples to apples comparison, but gives you a snapshot. Next report. just a little bit more detailed breakout of county general. I'd like to remind the commissioners personnel, there's no personnel that get paid hourly or salaries out of there. That is just separation of service payment. That's one of those that's always hard to guesstimate as well each year. We just do it based on previous years and based on numbers that we know may be eligible for retirement. And then in the miscellaneous budget stabilization at 4.25 million that I discussed earlier. Any questions on that? These next reports get a little more interesting. Here's the breakout of RCPD expenses paid by Riley County. It's a good report. I prefer this next one down below because it gives you a snapshot comparatively on how we sit. I'd like to point out, commissioners, the position at 219,511, and we're just halfway through the year.
Yeah.
You can see that's almost the total amount we spent in 2023. Those two numbers, I was sitting in a meeting and Brittany got them to me real quick at a chamber board meeting and talking about some issues in the community that businesses are concerned with. And they asked Director Pete was there at that meeting as well, has to do with safety and security in the downtown area. And he had quoted a number on what he thought inmate medical was, and I thought that was rather low. And so I texted Brittany real quick and she got me those numbers at 219 currently, and 303 is what we spent in total last year. And I explained to that group, it's a group of about 25, 30 people, of businessmen and leaders and chamber people, and pointed out city managers there, USD 383 superintendents there, how that cost is solely borne by Riley County. No other public entities help assist us with those costs. And as you can see how hard they are to predict, but a good portion of that also has to do with psychotropic drugs, which is kind of related to the problems of concern within the community. So commissioners, yeah, that is, unfortunately, we will set a record there this year. I'm confident, and that's not a good record. We always do the RCPD budget based on our best guesstimate in previous years. We probably be coming back with a budget amendment on there. And if we've budgeted enough or not, we still have the statutory obligation to pay it. Go ahead.
Finish.
No, that's it.
I was gonna look at building needs too. That was the other one that.
Building maintenance, it's a little bit higher, but we've been atypically low, in my opinion. Inmate medical and building maintenance have always been my concerns throughout my whole career. Building maintenance has really leveled off, so I'm not surprised to see it go up a little bit. We used to be higher than that on a regular basis.
Is that into the cameras? Upgrade or?
No, just stuff failed. 2 HVAC units this year. One.
Yeah.
Mhm. But that one, that's kind of getting back up to where I think it about ought to be for a facility of that size. We've been atypically low for the last couple of years.
That sounds
Yeah,
pretty low.
good catch. It is going up from where it's been for sure.
Well, I'm just looking at it right now and trying to estimate this year.
Yep, understand. Yep, those are the two that are most difficult to predict and control for sure. And you can't control them because when it's 100 out and the AC breaks, they need AC. Budget appropriation amount, you can see that down below there as well, commissioners. Any questions? Offsite inmate medical. Once again, Riley County as a public entity is the only public entity that provides any funding for any of this statutorily because we were required. And it was kind of interesting there at that meeting. I talked about at the chamber as a downtown business owner manager, Brad Everett was there because he's very concerned with some of the issues that are going on. And it was Brad's dad that drafted all of those laws on RCPD consolidation. And we had a little discussion about that too. And Brad's a really good guy, like Brad. But Don Everett was his dad's name, and he's the one, and I'd imagine there's some other attorneys that were involved in that, but he was the lead on it for sure at the state legislature. Any questions on that, commissioners? You can see ADPs at 121. That's high, going down a little bit, but still way high. And the thing is, with a lot of the inmates, a lot of it is dealing with psychotropic drugs, and those are exceedingly expensive, and which is all related to our high cost, plus the numbers impacts our high cost. Any questions, commissioners? Not a lot we can do about it. Everyone at that meeting says, we need to have more state facilities are needed, Osawatomie's closed. And so that's had a big impact on those inmates staying in local jails longer, which is all cost to us, and the state doesn't have to pay that as well. Any questions? You look through them, have any questions, let us know. We'll be glad to get you information. Next up, I believe you have Catherine Hensler.
Thursday, you mentioned about the trial policy, about the one study time policy. So I will send a copy of that out to the hashtag department heads. Did you find it? So you should have gotten around for that.
Makes sense.
The trial.
Yeah.
Okay. You want, I'm sending that. They will, okay.
I guess we'll see. My understanding, nobody's agreeing on that.
Yeah.
It's what?
Nobody's agreeing on the winning one in the apartment buildings.
Yeah, about the trial part about it's gonna get it. Yeah, that's the thing, because like generally, well, it came from the time that their vesting changed. And then they as a group wanna propose to you.
Right.
I think it's like everybody step. Non. Scheduled trial, and I don't know what you guys.
And I understand, so when you bring it in, something to be, here it is, take it or leave it, we'll get a few
Yeah.
weeks to look at it.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a fair expectation.
It's a major thing, I think.
Well, yeah, and the interesting part is that thing that I see is the major change. Was a conversation. Because I felt the same, the big arm of labor requires us to pay. Hours they need not scheduled for this. Well, what you be writing during their scheduled hours. So I write into Topeka at 6 a.m., but I'm in regular, I'm starting at 8, but I'm not driving, I'm just riding in the car, doing whatever I want. I'm chasing the beats, and the request was to reconsider that because it's important, they're requiring them to go in, whatever it is. But I feel like it's complicated because I also need to pay them to ride in the marathon or sit in the marathon.
Yeah,
We should probably have this as a scheduled work session rather than an impromptu work session.
Yeah, yeah,
Just, you're getting a little deep into it, but.
I just wondered if you wanted a copy, I guess is my main point, but yeah. I'm trying to think if I should schedule that before the department has a proposal or we.
Or just.
Our department head is one that's
I
definitely
always
changed based on that last meeting, so.
that might be good to go for.
I'm kind of in the law, but I'm also see the phone, so. Maybe before meeting.
Yeah, I would. I mean, that
What
would show
someone currently looks at that we bring them on may not look anything like it based on that last discussion.
There was some detailed notes on the discussion that had been read to where we're at current.
Yeah, I could write that up with a conversation and say, okay, here's where it came from, here's what the law is, at least, okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I was just thinking about, I was thinking of that, and you said that I could send a draft, but then I thought, we could write out.
wait,
Good morning, Commissioners. Catherine Hensler, Director of the Riley County Historical Museum, here with our monthly staff report. So we'll be looking at July's statistics and numbers. With visitations and tours, we've had a great month. We're up from the previous months as well as the same time last year. We'll never be able to beat May of 2025, but other than that wonderful event we attended, we're looking great as far as attendance at the museum and the Goodnow House, as well as programs and outreach. Volunteer hours were also up significantly in July of 2025 compared to previous months. Part of that is because we are tracking our internship numbers. Those are volunteer interns. They are receiving credits through K-State. However, they are volunteering their time to do this, and they're actually paying for their credits. So we have been tracking those numbers. So again, we're up at 268 in a quarter volunteer hours in the month of July. With education and outreach, we are not as busy in July as we are some of the other months where people are, or the kids are in school. However, we still had some pretty decent attendance at our programs. We had our first photo digitization workshop that was in collaboration with the Chapman Center for Rural Studies. 15 people attended, and that was also a collaboration with UFM. That was a class that we offered in the spring or the summer semester. We are also continuing with our fireside chats through the summer, and in July we worked with the Black entrepreneurs of the Flint Hills and the Yuma Street upcoming Yuma Street Cultural Center. The title was Reclaim and Rise, the Yuma Street Vision. Again, good attendance for that program. We also had a couple tours, scheduled tours over the summer that are regular than just our day-to-day walk-ins. The 4-H exchange program and a group of English teachers from Brazil visited, and amongst them there was a little over 50 attendees. We also held our historic city park walking tour on July 18th with 22 in attendance, and that number is quite good considering we had downpours that night. So we do suspect the weather kept some people away, but we had our diehard history fans show up and still go through the tour in the midst of the rain. And then a really interesting tour of note went through the Wolf House at the end of July. So the second owners of the Wolf House Historic Museum were the Perry family. So that would have been late 1800s into the early 1900s. The descendants came in for a trip and we toured them around the Wolf House. It was a really neat afternoon to share their family's history with them. Many of them who had never heard of the house, the history, or had ever visited before. So we were happy to do that and provided a neat experience for them, but also for our staff. Looking at our collections numbers, in July, we brought in 22 objects that were donated, and those were by 6 donors. We weren't able to process any backlog items or deaccession, but with the next point, archives and library, there will be a very significant deaccession number being presented to you in the near future, probably in October, because as we're cleaning out the library and the archives, our curators and the collections committee through the Historical Society have reviewed 4,259 books. Those were all in the library somewhere. And 3,296 of those are going to be recommended for deaccession at the September board meeting. We are not asking to get rid of any historic texts. These are all just random magazines, books that might be Tom Sawyer published in the 1920s. They really don't fit with our collections criteria. And amongst this group of curators and the collections committee, they have decided that they're not best suited for our collection. Also, you've been in that space. You know how cluttered it is. It is looking great and it is being reorganized. We're creating finding aids so then we can also effectively find the tools that we do decide to keep and make them accessible to the public. The archives and library have also been very busy in the month of July, and between research requests and appointments, we've had 26 contact points That is higher than usual, and I think just shows we're getting out there and people are using us as a resource. Building and grounds, I'm very happy to report that lighting in the galleries, the library, archival storage, and permanent storage have been updated and improved. So we finally have light. I guess the problem with that is we're now seeing things we didn't know we had. So we have more stuff to go through. We can finally see what's on those very top shelves. However, we are incredibly pleased with the quality of light now. And we can do our work more effectively. The Public Works maintenance team will be coming in next week to then help us. We will not be helping them install the lighting, but they will be installing the lighting, helping us in that space to provide much better lighting. And after that, our lighting issues should be solved. We will have light in all of the places we need in the museum. So, John, thank you very much for continuing to coordinate with Economy Electric and your team. We really do appreciate it. As far as staffing, our summer interns will be finishing up actually this week, the end of this week, and we will have two new interns starting for the fall 2025 semester. Their names are Robin Imbo and Maggie Howland. They're both coming through the Museum Studies Certificate Program at K-State. And one will be assigned to the Archives Division and the other will be assigned to the Education Division. So we welcome them and we look forward to getting them started. We are currently accepting applications for the spring 2026 internship. And we will have two of those opportunities available. They have not been filled yet. The Riley County Historical Society Board is on summer recess, and they will resume their regular board meetings on September 10th. They did a couple weeks ago, attend a board retreat. So I believe it was August 2nd. The Riley County Extension Office Director, Daniel Scuchis, provided a really nice program for them called Welcome Aboard. And while a lot of our board members are not new board members, they've served elsewhere, they might be returning for additional terms on the society board. It was just a really great educational program talking about the basics of service on a board, what volunteer hours look like, how meetings should flow, Robert's Rules of Order, and those types of things. So it was a really great educational process, not just for the board members, but also for our curatorial team who showed up and attended that as well. I will note that despite the society board being on recess for the summer, their committees do continue to meet. So we do continue to see progress and move forward with some of the projects that we're collaborating with them on. Upcoming events, we do have a busy fall. We will continue with our fireside chats. We have one this upcoming Tuesday, which I guess is actually tomorrow, August the 12th. We always run those on the second Tuesday of each month. Next Saturday, August 16th, we'll be having our Genealogy and History Fair. This is a collaborative program with a couple other historical organizations in our community that runs from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Potterf Hall. This is a program that's free and open to the public. We do still need some volunteers to help us out. The museum has 3 different booths. We're hosting the Kid Corner, so youth education, but we're also having a booth for the museum. And then we are helping out by staffing one of the welcome tables. So I do invite you and everyone else to come out and visit that day, whether you're a history lover or not. It'll be fun for everybody. September 4th, we do have a presentation with Thane Baker and Catherine Baker Nicholson. That's titled Running in Borrowed Shoes, the Thane Baker and the 1952 Summer Games. He is a former Olympian and K-Stater. That'll be 6 p.m. I will note that there is a venue change. This is now going to be held at the Flint Hills Discovery Center downtown. But this is also free and open to the public, and Mrs. Nicholson will be having a book sales booth. So the book will be available for sale. That's something that the author is handling. The museum or society are not getting involved in the sales. Again, we'll have fireside chats, like I mentioned, and then on September 21st, we'll be hosting a Humanities Kansas presentation with Derek Doty titled Kansas Museum History. That'll be at 2 p.m. at the Manhattan Public Library, also free and open to the public. And then finally, we do have a cemetery preservation workshop scheduled for October 11th. That'll be at the Ogden Protestant Cemetery from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is free and open to the public. And this will be a continuation from the workshop that we hosted there last year. So we'll be teaching a little more extensive process in repairing some of these monuments. That is all for my report. Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you very much. Have a great day.
You should get it on first conference, not in the leads. There they go. Literally, fine. So, I'm just gonna people shoot now.
So I was just. gonna say-
No, only because I'm tired of the boot. I put up the fence thing now.
Wow, how do you do that?
Right, it's like that half of the.
They're just, they're big enough. I have to buy bigger trees for wider feet.
Yeah.
I'm able to get this one, so that's only two I can work in. So I'm in tennis shoes, so I'm just tired of that boot. Hopefully this gets out on Wednesday afternoon, we'll see.
Good, I'm so sorry.
So do you have to buy 2 pair of shoes? One pair for that?
No, they're both the same. So what's the bell that come out? I will make your advice. So to say. Yeah, people with the X-rays. Yeah.
It's that easy, right?
No, I'm just telling you what they say. I get my shoe, it's in my nose. Kind of defensive about that, huh?
This one is not for sure being flush.
Yeah, that's what I was. Those boots are fun at all.
Well, they should go after the body, legs.
They're both bad.
Not being able to walk, it's supposed to.
Well, yeah.
We got it's no problem. Right. That's got to open the site. It just be cute, yeah. It's like it's good. Beautiful. I feel like there's a one somewhere. So yeah, I think the offense will be okay, but the defense will. So, yeah, when you got. True. So it's hard to gauge. An AFC North is not a not a power conference at this point in time, but.
John?
Yep. Good morning, Commission. John Ellerin, Public Works, and today we want to talk about our asphalt overlays for this summer or this year yet. Rosencutter Road, Hinton Road, Molman Road, South Manhattan Avenue and Stag Hill and Skyway Drive will all be included in our mill and overlay project this year. They're scheduled to begin August 25th. Traffic control will be installed during the project. Project has been allotted 25 working days and is expected to be completed by September 29th. Thank you.
Thank you, David Adams, 9:35.
I see one of those supposed to be. Yeah, sometimes the guy that bought the, and he's still playing, it's the city. That's what they're gonna do. That's just. Yeah, I think of Brian Thomas and a couple other guys that picked up, so. Let's play millipedes, but set people off and so.
I guess if they use the place, it's specific.
Yeah.
Circumstances.
So they need to stretch the deal with, maybe a common setting up the end situation. Everything's going, and anybody's really throw it to, then when people speak here, is actually he's getting worked out of the illustration, we got a few young lads, supposed to be in skip on the jingle sets, it'll probably balance it out.
It was really good job, good job.
Yeah, that's something. Looks fine, obviously, I see, you know, when you started, you'll see, I'm more concerned with the front set than it's. The hunt's out and everything. I'm not really sure it does. Yeah, it's like, we'll see. But it's hard to gauge after one precinct and the drives.
I know for Chiefs, we're looking, we got Josh them with one shot, but he's looking.
That's very good, but sometimes we. They're healthy, well, receive the core, very changing.
That's nice. So I don't know if you guys was young, and this is for the floor, it seems like this is similar to.
That's what the thing, the rules, not the same, I know. Yeah. So. I have it, I have seen.
I got the rights, and that is these things. Where the eagle is good.
You know, guys, like ice and really forth in the season. And a little bit, very little, it's probably. Nothing, she's right, from the sleep, I mean, everything's not going to, no. Same things that wrong, and. We are. In a division where there are no further last section to it. Yeah. But be interested in about that. I'm Sean Bailey, just on.
You can go like a new man.
Oh, my gosh, yes. Yes, I've been my butt.
Yes.
Facility.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It's like, I think all people, I can't find it.
Yeah, that's what, I've heard that several times. Let's walk around looking for people. Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. So, oh, yeah, oh, absolutely, yes. They're so fun. They're so silly with it.
Oh.
There's a sun out there with the word on it.
That's what.
So you know, the big thing that we went.
Oh, yep. Oh, okay, yep. Yep, we got that back sometime last night, yesterday afternoon. Yep, so, and it's supposed to be at the shops right now getting serviced for football season. But the supervisor, she ran to meet other crews and get them some supplies. She forgot all about it. So we're trying to get her back to load it up to go get it up there. Yeah, to get it, yeah, hook up to it and go.
Catherine, you ready?
Good morning, Commissioners. David Adams, EMS Ambulance Director, with a request to fill an open full-time EMT position within our department. This position is a budgeted full-time position that will be vacated actually on the 15th, I believe is her last shift. Position is provides direct patient care and is assigned to an ambulance, is also responsible for working event standbys. So like I said, it's budgeted. If we, as you recall, we have to have a person in the seat. And if we don't have that, we use our PRN best we can, but they're not always available for every shift. And then it falls back on either overtime or, if we don't have an extra on our shift, that's our first try, right? That extra is on our shift. But we have we have one person who's in orientation. We have some open time. We have vacations and such. Right now, families are taking time off, getting ready to go back to school and things like that. So we do the best. I mean, you've seen our overtime. We've kept it very low. But if we don't fill this, then that will result in some overtime coming up here pretty quick, and then as well as into standby season. So.
Form your assignments is EMT has different.
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, thank you. So we open these up anytime, if you recall. This one is an EMT, AEMT position. So they're budgeted that way. If we can get an advanced EMT, we do. If we can't, we can get an EMT, and then they'll go through education, go through training, and then hopefully we'll move up in that realm. So it is budgeted at the AEMT level. And that is the hope, but we don't have a lot of those that apply, and we don't have any right now in our application queue. So that's why we open it. We give ourselves that leeway, so I don't have to come back and say, well, we didn't get an AEMT, but now we're going lower and we're just doing an EMT. So that's why both of those are in there for you, if that makes sense. It's the same thing we've been doing. So.
Okay, well, I would make a motion to fill the open full-time EMT position with the within the EMS ambulance department.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve EMS to fill the EMT, AEMT position. All in favor?
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Right before you speak.
I know. So then I really do feel like I'm yelling at you guys.
You want to.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brittany Phillips, Budget and Finance Officer, here today to request to be able to publish the notice of hearing for our 2026 budget. So it would be for Riley County and then all of our special benefit districts as well and cemeteries. So I gave obviously the background, which at this point I'm sure you guys are well aware. But the estimated tax rate to fund the 2026 budget is 37.951, which is over the revenue neutral rate of 36.821. And then fire as well for 8.056, and it's over the revenue neutral rate of 7.875. So it is required by state statute that we publish this 10 days prior to hearing. And so I'm just asking permission to publish this and get it going.
Still with the audit.
Nope, they already got it back to us. Yeah, so we had very minimal changes. The changes that he did have, were just things that differed between like what he put in the audit versus like what I put on the spreadsheet. And so it was just like discussing, like, I think I missed on bond and interest, like $74 revenue that we received. And so he was like, hey, make sure you put that on there. And I'm like, okay. I don't have one, so. Maybe your steak and lobster fund.
Oh, no. Way.
So, yep, he had a really quick turnaround. I sent it to him on last Monday when you guys approved it. And on Tuesday, he was in my office and we were sitting down talking through things. So, and we met with him on Thursday afternoon. So to talk about audit and budget. So.
All the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted.
Yes, yes.
Okay, well, I would make a motion to approve publishing the 2026 notice of budget hearing.
Moved and seconded to approve publishing the 2026 notice of budget hearing in Manhattan Mercury. Favor.
Thank you.
We're just waiting for. It's been later, no rush, but. So that always the fire piece, and so that's just all we're waiting for, and Jacob. Pick it up from their time.
Fine, it's gonna be a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a little bit. That's always the last piece, so. Yeah. I'm glad I'm.
Commissioners, we ready? All right. It's Jacob Hansen, County Councilor here. First, we have to go over, of course, is the project list. There aren't any specific projects that have been added. Speaking of that audit letter, it's definitely on my list of things to do, but with multiple court deadlines coming up and some other matters, it's kind of taking priority over that, but it is in the works. So we'll get to it. Do you guys have any specific questions on any sort of projects that we're working on? Okay. The other thing that I would like to, of course, bring to your attention is the chief elected officials agreement. This is an amendment, which essentially we're consolidating. There was two groups of this local workforce. It's been consolidated into one. That's already been approved. Essentially, we're just signing on to it now at this point. This was intended to be done some time ago, but it got kind of pushed under the rug. I've been working with the individuals over there and have it executed now is not going to cause any issues. Of course, we have Commissioner Foki who's sitting on that board currently. If there's any questions regarding the amendment itself, I'd be happy to answer. Substantially, it's the same, or I should say substantively, not substantially. Substantively, it is the same as the previous agreement we've entered, but apparently by combining the two areas, we are creating, I guess, a better opportunity to receive funds. That is my understanding of the purpose of the change. And Commissioner Foki, I can certainly defer to you if you have any additional comments on that.
Requested by the state to consolidate one. And it's really a big district, but they do have a basic office space, which we didn't have. Money wise, it was tight having just speak up. So that's it's a bigger group.
Yeah, it's a much, we went from what I have here, certain number of counties, approximately somewhere around 10 to 79.
Yeah.
So we expanded it pretty considerably. Yeah. And then if you notice, I also included, of course, there were a couple informational pages that were provided to me that you guys can look through and just kind of review a little bit of what's been done with this board, the CEO board specifically, as well as the local workforce board and what they've been doing.
This board are elected officials. The other ones appointed. But boy, you look at that map, that little map with the blue and the red, and it's on page 52. It's just like, it's like space.
So they,
The brush in the streets.
Yeah, it is.
that may be on purpose.
Yeah, I try to set it a little bit, because you're usually gonna talk to that individual, grants, those things. I think if I remember. Everyone knows my store area?
Oh, that is super zoomed in.
There's a couple of, well, is it North Dakota, South Dakota, just have like one representative.
For both the states?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
One for each.
Oh, okay. Well, with that, commissioners, happy to answer any other questions, but.
Yeah, everything white.
Yeah.
And the state really wants all of it to be consolidated, I think.
Would make sense, yeah.
Obviously, it's from my population.
Yeah.
So with that, I would just ask for a motion, of course, for authorization for the chair to sign the chief elected officials agreement amendment.
I would make a motion that the Board of County Commissioners continue his partnership with the new CEO of the elected board agreement
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. The commissioners sign the new CEO agreement with this workforce.
Local workforce, yeah, workforce.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair this time.
Thank you, commissioners. And one thing I would like to add real quick before I hop off, of course, is that on Thursday, I'll be presenting all of the legislative topics. We have had one other addition from Chief Stuckey regarding some planning that he would like to perhaps see from the Kansas Forest Service and in conjunction with the legislature. I'll have him with me on Thursday to kind of help give the context for that ask and for you guys to consider.
I am going to discuss on Thursday, but obviously we need to kind of start planning. We've done it in the past. I don't know if we want to continue, maybe it's a change, but we do have a legislative conference. Is that what we-
Yeah, legislative conference. Yeah, that's true. And we usually have that around December, is my
I
understanding.
think we stretched it out a little bit last year because we had quite a few new
That's right.
new representatives, and of course they were going through orientation at the time. So I would say try and maybe get it closer to late November.
Okay.
Or maybe before Thanksgiving, like we're gonna have more than a couple of topics.
Sure. I don't see any reason why that can't happen.
Usually have about 3 in there. On
Yeah.
average. I didn't have anything more than that. We might want to do it just a little bit earlier and plan for a little bit longer.
Consensus on that? Okay. All right, I will look to get that done.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah. That's all I did. I knew it was you.
I'm the one for directors.
And you can put AI and that create something totally different. Indianapolis and Tennessee. I'd say Houston probably, I said they go, they're still pretty young. You know?
That was seven more.
Like he just got outplayed by the guy. I didn't know how strong he was.
Yeah.
Hard to say. I think Indianapolis has some. I have some kind of little ball for those games and I split issues. I just don't know if it's staff and then this is your Brian who goes to staff. It's.
That's true too. That could be.
Yeah. It's a really good office. It's a beta meeting. Yeah. They would tell another game. I'm kind of going loud. So.
Yeah, keep it.
Yeah, you can explain that.
Wow. Yeah, I was gonna say no.
Well, they said we weren't pleased.
Yeah.
Say once just, sorry, I'm not finished.
I can see the conversation was. Staff says it's beautiful much.
Yes.
New York still not rebuilding. Yeah, I think it's still.
See, I've drawn for teachers, so. I'll be back on. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Green Basin, that's that.
It seems like it's. Yes, it's pretty.
Well, it's also, yeah, it's really good. Taste the smoke out of heaven's mercy. And that's hard.
Yes. More.
Yeah.
That's. Lost the chargers yesterday.
License. We're gonna need. Yeah, let's see what shit that's, you know, we do change there. So, you know, yeah, they're sure it's from, it's pretty cold. But now there's smiley faces, it's gonna be nasty. So I bet one cold. Yeah, but that's good. All of them. Yeah. I'm gonna push them, I'm not gonna. It is what it is, it's like.
Suggesting all, give us more.
No, I think- Responsibility, so it's not that it's good cheap stuff.
I have to talk to get that, you know, that you hear, how do you, this actually, yeah. It's pretty, so that seems.
I played a little short watch. Yeah.
It's beginning.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't. No.
You know, funny enough, I made some, I was like, I should make some for John, he's gonna forget.
You know, I did. That popular, really popular sometimes.
Like, homemade popcorn?
Well, I can't make the kernels, but
Well,
outside of that, yeah.
Yeah.
Got a bag of like that at some conference or something for speaking, and I'm like, you did something.
I really like the boom chicken pop or the, it's not so he's saying that, but.
Well, it's definitely not that, you know, remember that.
Those are, that's pretty good.
That's the first time I've seen it.
So I did. More than it's gonna say.
Today, it was like, I'm waiting.
Yeah. It today. I might be a little overdue.
You know, how you try to watch for the, there's some good things, like, get nothing on that, but hate it. Once.
Yeah.
Say that.
We've had to get rid of a few experiences, but.
Yes, it's like.
They're so expensive though, maybe you have to test it, just.
They, no, he's the page.
Yeah. Smells.
Can stay going.
It stays trapped.
You started to mock that car was contained. So just smart first step is on you.
Oh, no, this is the what we see.
Yeah.
The lessons. Well, the exploration. Usually three things that goes. Containers. Yeah. That's the smell of that, it looks like how she's spectacular. I know he's built for a lot of things, so.
Yeah, I don't really like them.
Either, you know,
Particularly,
I use it to make mashed potatoes, that's about.
Yeah. if it wasn't for my kids, I have to live fine.
Yeah. Finally, we bowls of cereal, usually eat cereal, just.
Yeah.
Except for the whole different type, I did that.
Yeah.
So, sure, good job.
I don't know, and so.
I didn't really do that, much.
So like when we're trying to make sure like it's still good, like Wes will be like, you should smell it, and like I always think Bill smells that, so I'm not really your person.
Now, usually my whole motivation, usually gonna be back, because it's. It'll last a bunch of months. That's the word it's.
Oh, I did like all the supplies, that's weird.
Because.
Until I see how you actually don't come home, that's you trust. You ever seen it on
Most dependable way you get them. Amount of water needed to produce that. Is just say for us of water supplies. There might be.
But it is pretty good. It makes it a lot better, I think.
Yeah.
Robbie, you ready?
Morning. I'm here today to present,
Oh, yeah.
yes, thank you.
I know these things we need to chat about. Sorry, we're getting used to the new system.
You're great.
I'll make the motion to recess this Board of County Health. We could use the Board of County Commission, we could use the Board of County Health.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded, recess as the Board of County Commissioners, seat as the Board of Health, all in favor? Nay.
Well, good morning. I'm here today to present on the Memorial Hospital Association grant. We've been applying for this grant since 2018. And so we're hopeful to have another successful year by being awarded. Last year, we received 23,000 of the 30,000 that we requested. And so with that, we were able to do some amazing things within our Becoming a Mom program, our maternal and infant prenatal and postpartum services, our intensive weekly home visiting, and then clinic used it for offsetting the cost of the administration fees for vaccines, immunization. So with that, I had proposed the same pretty much amount that we were requesting last year with the $30,000, just knowing that probably based off last year and previous years, we do not receive the full ask amount. And then wanted to know if you had any questions or wanted to see about receiving approval for moving forward with that application.
If you could go over like the exact items, I know it's listed in the
Sure.
description, just so it's. I just want to make sure it's really clear what the things we're gonna buy with the money, like gift cards and other things like that.
Yes, so for the prenatal education series, which is the Becoming a Mom program, when they complete the 6 classes, they receive an incentive. That's a pack and play, a car seat, or a video monitor. And so we will be purchasing those items with that as well. With the maternal and infant postpartum services, they do an ASQ and a EPDS screening for both mom. So the ASQ screening is for infant and the EPDS is for mom or caregivers in the home. And so by completing that, we assess needs and do resources and referrals after that. And so for completing that at those visits and for participating in those visits, which are, they're voluntary. So sometimes, especially postpartum, people go back to work. So we've found that incentivizing that a little bit more keeps them wanting to stay on a little bit longer. So we plan to provide gift cards that will help assist with those needs. As far as our intensive weekly home visiting program, we do a social determinants of health screening, and that is basically housing, food insecurity, and any basic necessities that they might need. Mostly we find medications, prescriptions, transportation. We have had some interesting things with dental and then eye care recently. So we kind of wrapped that in this year just based off last year's needs. And so with that, we would help offset the cost of some of that as they complete the screening and a need is identified through our processes. All the gift cards will be given to the clients directly. We have a tracking system in place, and then we're working on getting a kind of a signature page for them, just so they understand that they're receiving the funds and what it's intended for. And then we will upload that into our EHR.
Then the Board of County Health approved the request to apply for the grant funds totaling 30,000 from the Memorial Hospital Association.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the request to apply for grant funds totaling $30,000 from the Memorial Hospital Association. All in favor? Aye.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Also make the motion to be recessed as the Board of County Health and then reconvene as the Board of County Commission.
I would second that.
Moved and seconded to recess the Board of Health and next meeting as the Board of County Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Morning again, John Ellerman, Public Works, with our monthly project update. See, first thing really on there, CP window project. Moving along faster or better than we kind of expected. By the time I wrote this and sent it to you, we've got quite a few more windows put in and taken out. Pretty much the third floor. Pretty much the third floor by this week will probably be pretty close to finished. We do have one door that we're going to add to the contract, that the windows frames and the door frames are all one piece. So we're going to take that out and put a new one in there.
Where's that?
Third floor as you go into the break room area. So yeah, that door and some new hardware to escape push bar hardware to get out. Yeah, so they're working on pretty well. They are having a delay. The hydraulic press machine of Manco's has broken down a week or so ago and delaying the finishing of the inside trim work. Hopefully they're getting that fixed up. We were hoping that'll get done this week so we can finish up the interior of community corrections and get them moved out. As of right now, that until that gets finished or fixed up where they can do that, I think we're going to move down to the second floor and start working in the IT and a couple of windows that we can get done there. And then back probably, I don't know when that machine gets fixed, maybe even going down to the commission room on the first floor to do some of the other. They're going to have to jump around until they can get those interiors fixed up so we can move people back in. Elevator project, as of the last time I checked last week, the delivery of parts should be around September 24th. So that's kind of delayed some of that. Hopefully that happens on the 24th and we can get them started. It's October and probably the courthouse, but we'll have to look at where we're starting in there. Parks crews, pretty much back to normal after the fair. Going to parks, I got a couple of them are volunteering or wanting to get their CDLs, and so they'll be scheduled to be tested or to go get their test. And some of the repair stuff we done at Fairmount Park or on the dog park to help keep the gates, the entrance from washing out. He knows about the other issues that you had brought up and they'll get to them as they have time. Operations crew, we did some chip sealing, is complete. Wasn't as good of quality of job as we'd like to have seen, and we would have done ourselves. They went to Keats and redid or pulled up some of the bad spots they had, and they're now waiting for them to come back to reshoot it and reseal it. We did some striping along Skyway after Scenic after we sealed. It got it striped, put some wrong stripe down and double yellow in front of a side road that shouldn't be double yellowed in a turn lane. So we had that patched up and fixed. We did that. And when the painter comes back through the next couple of weeks, he'll fix that with his truck instead of our push striper that didn't look quite as nice as it should, but it
wasn't just.
No, it was a little crooked, but that's just a push cart. And the first time our guy was using it, was his first time running it. So not as bad as I've seen. Could have been better, but not as bad as I've seen, so he did a pretty good job, I think.
No, you had it professionally done, right?
We do normally, but
Well,
the fix job, yeah.
In circumstance,
Yeah, the patching, taking out the double yellow and restriping the white to get there, that was, our crew did that, and then, like I said, that was his first time. When a paint truck comes back through, he'll fix that. What will we do? Like, so overlay project starts August 25th. Road crews are grading roads and as moisture allows and adding rock when they need to. A lot of ditch cleaning and culvert cleaning and stuff now going on. We also have a person in the shop, our new employee in the shop, taking his CDL classes. And he passed his permit, and I think he is supposed to go this week to get tested. So we have a few, and then I've got a handful more that have restricted licenses that have to go through a permit process to get their full license. But we got 4 or 5 of them that want to get their full license, which means manual transmissions, trailers and fifth wheels and air brakes and stuff. So got a lot of guys moving up and getting worried about their CDLs. Open positions, I am down only 1 for right now. Hopefully that stays that way for a while. This was old. So parks facility there, new person started today. And our assistant operations manager started today. And so all we have left is custodian interviews, and we've been trying to set up interviews and get for that position. University Park plans are into KDHE for review. Working on temporary and permanent easements for the force main from the old treatment plant lift station. We're going to put a lift station there and need a force main to pump it up to the lagoons, and rural water district easements for relocation of their water line. It just so happened it falls in the middle of the lagoon, and that's not a good idea. So, EMS headquarters, they're all but finished. I think BHS and some of the subs have been in and out fixing some minor problem issues. The last pay estimate we had was at 99%. So there'll still be another pay estimate or so coming in the next month or so. Emergency management remodel of the old EMS plans are complete. I think Wednesday we meet to talk about budget and subcontractors. We have agreed to, or we decided to do a third-party review, and I got that agreement set up and started with them to do the review. Peterson Ranch overlay project, or asphalt project, not overlay, it's just asphalt project, will start our bids open August 15th, so that's Thursday. We are finishing up reviewing contracts for bridges and culverts from consultants for the sales tax projects. Evan and I reviewed some of those contracts last week, Tuesday, Wednesday. Working on setting up a meeting with BBN to discuss scope of services on how we want to do the study and make sure what expectations are for both sides. I might have to do that without the judge and Barry for rather be tied up the next couple of weeks, but I want to get that ball started. And what we come up with the scope, I will share with them, all 3 of those departments to review before we agree to sign anything. Water and sewer service lines. I think we're just waiting for the contractor to start set those for the University Park Fire Station. That extend water to the station and sewer. We had a Department of Labor inspection last week. Basically come in and look at our lobbies and equipment rooms where we store our boilers and stuff. They look at just little minor, I don't know, I call them minor things, like extension cords, tripping hazards and those type of things, make sure we're doing it. They went out to a lot of the lobbies and rooms in our downtown, but they also went to the transfer station and took a tour, a look through our shops and not just weed shop too. I didn't hear what all come out of that yet. They'll be sending us a report on things that they found and things that we'll need to address. We'll be attending the MEAT conference, Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas conference, September 24th and 25th. It's the afternoon of the 24th, the morning of the 25th. And usually Alvin, Evan and I will attend that meeting. St. Joe. Transfer station, it'll be closed August 16th to clean the tipping floor and the scales and the pits under the scales. So we need a day to do that work. Amazon site has started site work. And so you probably already noticed it's a little late for you, but traffic along Wildcat, maybe a little bit of Skyway there will be a little bit busier with trucks hauling, MCM hauling trucks back and forth with their dirt pit over. I know I did that. Overlay projects, August 25th again. The water tower has started, project up there. They have come in and within a week, 2 weeks, poured the footing, got that all set up, and the site looks really pretty nice for a work site. Just a little pile of dirt there next to the footing. So I haven't seen the tower people come in to erect the tower yet, but the concrete people that come in and set the footings and the face for that are all completely finished. Looks really pretty good. And the last thing I wanted to talk to you about, if I have a little bit of time left, is the commission chambers remodel. Having a little struggle with what to do, how to get prices and what to tell them for directions to take. There's not a whole lot we can do in there. We talked about carpet, we talked about paint, window coverings, lighting and fans to redo some of that. He's looked at what kind of finishes we want. And we talked about a desk. Some of that stuff we're looking at probably a cost of $250,000 to do those, and that's not really getting into the restrooms or anything. And then of course we're looking at 25,000 for consulting services.
I think the other thing that we maybe hadn't considered in that original conversation is are we gonna actually stay there long term? As different departments transition to different buildings and we give, obviously, judicial center, it's at the point in time, there's or chambers to another building. So to me, it doesn't necessarily seem the best idea right now, the best use of funds to complete remodel if in 3 to 5 years we transition to another location.
Yeah, where would we go? I mean, they talked about where the county attorney is now, that would have to be really redone for us to go in there. I mean, that would take, that's way down the road. I mean, how long is the judicial center going to take to ready?
At least 3 to 5 years, that's probably minimum, because we don't even know what we're building. It's
So, I'd like to see some, these, have a presentation really kind of like we've got here.
We can't, I'm having a hard time telling them what to present to you, and I have no idea where we're wanting to go with it. There's not a whole lot we can do about rearranging. If we keep our backs away from the windows. And so you have one wall to.
There's more room than you think, but this setup is really nice as far as if you put them back against the screen back against the windows, you're covering up our brand new windows and light. I would like to see maybe like a drywall put up over sliding door things, Tisha maybe put it over there with a presenter. We could keep, yes.
Yeah, I think this is good, check it stay where they are.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. We're looking
Yeah, but I
at,
think you can do navies. Go from the south into the room to the north end of the room, flip it like that. But I don't know, I forgot logistically. I'm not, the more I thought about it, the more I think we're gonna
we can,
do a big remodel there.
Oh, it wouldn't take a lot.
we could get, I mean, without having to go through a big contract. And even the architect to put something together, we can have carpet cleaned or replaced and paint on the walls. And Corey has ideas what to do with the screens and where to put them without blocking the windows again.
If you put in more detail.
Yeah, I'd be happy.
In that,
What I thought.
so yeah, that was where, I mean, new desk too. I mean, that's the only other thing that we could have that have help as a new desk that was talked about too.
That's really, really expensive.
That's what I've seen there, not many. But
Yeah.
that's right, yes, the problem, the big cost, but
Yeah, I'm not sure where we would be at carpet. I think Jeremy thinks he can probably clean it and get it to look pretty well. And it's not in bad shape, probably. I don't think. so.
Cash to. If they're floating
I don't-
around.
So I'd have to look to see if they're not.
Because we already moved forward, we put the flags in, so
Okay.
they're movable.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I hadn't seen underneath there, looked real close to make sure that we didn't carpet up against the desk. Okay.
Even in the location and space, obviously you're changing lighting, you're changing acoustics, you're changing visible technology. I guess that's what we would want to discuss and see what direction to go.
Well, I checked before, we were talking, we did that, and you said it'd be fairly easy to move things around.
The current desks were built to be butted next to each other as they are. Now, can they be separated? Yes. Will they be functional? I'm gonna say no, because they were designed in being in that V shape. So if you were looking for more of a flattened, like the three of you have here, those desks won't do it. Because of the angles that are cut. So the centerpiece where currently Commissioner McKinley sits is the only one that is a square or a rectangle. The rest of them have, cuts and so forth. So you would be looking at possibly different desks, or you're gonna sit at a funky shaped, or a smaller V if you were to separate the two end pieces where Jacob and Rich sit. It's those two corner ones that have where yourself and Commissioner Ford sits that are not a square shape. From a technology standpoint, if you don't want any window covered, then the only wall or location to put anything is the one that's currently behind you. And that would be it. The only other large space is what would be in the northeast corner. There was two big pictures hanging there, but that section is so far back into a corner that it doesn't make it functional and usable. So you would have to make the decision to change, and at this point, it would either be your backs to windows or your backs to where people come in. Or the decision of some sort of a wall or something. I do know that when VHS was there, they looked inside those pillars and things, and they will tell you that they're structural.
Yeah.
I mean, they're structural.
It wasn't the same.
So does that mean that couldn't be done?
Technically, the frame.
Yeah.
Frame. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I hope that you don't try to fill in Or how many openings there are. They fill in the two middle ones, put a screen on, or that screen's off of the windows, so it can be hard to see.
What made it worse than this one? There's a lot of them. Oh, yeah, it's amazing.
So that's the space that you're talking about. And if,
You know, and it's really be back behind us that with that scene, you know,
You'd have to angle the decimal from the city.
So-
Basically, one way angle that was had, this would be. If a very, maybe the southeast corner, but all that would sit in if you're against that wall.
so you're saying it's sitting at a back towards this side and your view would heading towards that direction. And that's why I took pictures and we really need a little bit, like, we can't really put together a presentation. We need to know that you don't want your backs to windows. I think we're clear on that, right?
I mean, we're not, we need something that's functional. I think
Yeah.
functionality is the most important thing first.
Okay.
If you're gonna take the screen from where it normally was on that east wall, and somehow build into where you can put it on that west wall.
Yeah.
You know, I can walk it.
Go in that backspace between those.
I,
that's behind you a little bit.
yeah, I don't think that would work for me.
It works better over on that. You're gonna then move them. Then you can leave the desk. Kind of like this is.
Take that angle kind of shift it, that's like when you're facing the west wall there.
So this is where the screen was, and as you know, it covered pretty much both of these windows. And so then as you move down the wall, this becomes the only space, and this sits back, you know, chairs are kind of where this pillar is as far as they come out. So you can go there, this is the corner of the turns. But that's gonna be at such a drastic angle of your viewing.
But if you put the, it's great, like on this wall, the one that's got the slider panel or something.
Yeah, going back.
Go back to that one. That one. The one with the pillars.
You're asking about an option of seeing these gaps filled in.
Put the, build some drywall or frame there to. And then put the screen up on that.
But to do that, you'd really have to use these two, fill in these two on the right. So people coming in would be having to come in farther down there and walk in front of them. It would be correct and go. That's what I was thinking, if you put it in the middle one, you'd have basically a passageway at each end, but I didn't realize it. In my brain, I didn't realize how far those things are. Because we don't want people coming in from the back and behind us and walking through everything. And it's not a.
Yeah, right to the left, there's a doorway there too.
Yeah, but you're still, if anybody comes in around a meeting, they will come across the screen.
So they move on, right?
I'm not walking.
Well, right, and I'll leave this side open.
But I say, but if you do that, then the screens put it behind us, we have to rearrange our desk.
It's kind of like this.
How wide
It's kind of like.
Your question is the ADA wide enough? Yes, it is.
That's pretty much a little smaller.
Yeah.
It's 6 foot,
We can give it a percent screen.
Yeah.
Well,
6 foot?
yeah, grass has to be 6 foot.
No, that gap is probably not 6 foot.
It's 3 foot.
All of this.
You can't move those pillars.
So if you only have one, the middle one seems. Why, I'm just asking you, because if we're gonna be compliant, if you close off the two of them, how are gonna be compliant?
Yeah,
No,
Well, one has to be.
this has gotta be 3 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need two.
You get the inspections for every polling place.
Yeah, if you have an emergency exit too, which you got another side.
That's over there.
That's funny, why a wheelchair accessible.
and I think as John was saying, you get, my picture didn't include, there's one more opening.
right.
Goes into my office back.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, That's why I took these, and so we could get a little bit more and then try to help on, like, we're pretty limited. So if this is an option you wanted to explore, then I think we've got a yes out of that.
Yeah.
Once these are peeled back, this might end up being a wider opening.
And I'm not just talking about the door, I meant egress, like your exit ability has to be wide, but you've got the other door, so.
Yeah, so as far as getting out of the room, if there was something to happen, yeah, there would be there and there. And then, of course, the door that sits in the back is exitable.
It will be.
Yes.
It will be workable and equitable.
But how big is that screen compared? Would it just fill one of those openings from pillar to pillar? I don't remember,
Yeah, so, I mean, we have variations and I was honestly considering not going back with the projector and the screen and going with a TV, which would give us a clearer, crisper picture in doing this as well. And then we'll eliminate the sound, the projector, in doing this as well. So, I have no problem getting the screen or even probably something in the 98-inch TV size that would sit up there. And even though that's smaller than the screen, the clarity of the picture would be better. And also in doing that, we could put secondary TV in the room as well, and what's seen on one is seen on the other at the same time based on how the room configuration lays out. So we have options.
Put the center over here on this side, and then we could be over here, and then the chairs on this. They walk in this way.
So help me understand where you're thinking the person.
That gets kind of awkward, yeah.
Well, the presenter, whether you put the screen this way or that way, the presenter could be to the side of it like this.
You're wanting presenter and screen in the same view.
Yeah, I'd like to see.
Kind of like that, I think you're gonna mess with that walkway.
Then you've got to
Well, I
watch
should
it out
put
the
it
other
On
side.
the walkway, yes, like you don't want people like, instead of walking through that one in front of it.
Yeah, you need to keep the one on the right.
I want that just for commission staff and spotlight.
But if you have two screens, you've got one behind the presenter and one on some other wall. The commissioners can look at the presenter and the screen, and the other people can see the other.
Yeah,
I mean, if you put up two screens similar like you did, then that screen, you can look at it from all areas.
And we're talking here of not sitting straight north and south. You're talking about doing a shift to where your backs are towards, if you will, towards that door that's back there. Trying to kind of change it and looking kind of forward, possibly, right?
Yeah, just kind of.
A little bit and then.
I think a little,
Okay.
like I say, to get that desk out from in front of the presenter of the screen.
Okay.
well, those desks are like, there's stuff in there that's not usable, but I don't know if we want to redo.
Oh, but all the electrical
Yeah.
and computer stuff comes in underneath them. I don't know.
But
You
those
know,
file
that's
cabinets.
removed or not.
All that's doable. We just gotta have a little bit, this better grasp or feel of, you know.
How big was the TV screen?
That screen was 110-inch.
That one's what, but how big can you get a TV screen that? What were you saying, 98 inches or 96 inches?
Well, there's size and cost, or there's affordability and size, so it's kind of, we'll find the middle ground. It'll be somewhere in the 92 to 98. It'll be new EMS meeting room over there. Those are 95s, and the picture quality that we can get on them now, I mean, that's crystal clear from clear across the room, so.
Yeah, now some experiment on the first football game that we were winning.
Why weren't we invited?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be an open meeting.
I think the chairman would be there. So it isn't open meeting.
We have a luncheon.
It's the original building that you know, so.
Well, if I didn't know we were talking about this, Dad brought.
Well, it wasn't meant
plans
to
in.
be this detailed, but I was looking for some direction.
Yeah,
And
and that's.
we can come back
Absolutely.
I could get on the,
On that, you need to go to schedule based on that, bring it back to the board, but schedule time, 20 minutes to half an hour discuss.
Yeah, I mean, because we could put together, with where we were at, we could put together 20 different things and it,
But right now, we're scheduled.
yeah, so we thought we'd, and I didn't mean
That
to,
might be something to consider too, like, kind of said, two screen, two different.
yeah,
Because this small one there here, and that's a fairly big, and not sure that you sit
Yeah, between the window and what was the door, there's a pretty good chunk of. wall.
Yes. When I'd last heard John as discussed and it was asked, we seemed to be of the understanding it was no backs to windows and no backs to where came in, and really that was limiting kind of, you know, the abilities in there. And so trying to do all I can to support John and how he, you know, goes about laying this out or what we do. And yeah, I was there when hearing the costs come back, and yeah,
25,000.
we need to find a different way to go about doing this if we want something done for, so that it's feasible. And so,
Yeah, let's see what a reconfiguration.
I would encourage the board, whatever you do, to do it right at this time. That judicial center is very subject to the vote, but not approval.
Mhm.
I know at least two of the three of you, including myself, will not be here. We need to think along with others.
Yeah.
And so, whenever you're doing something like this, I'm never for doing it halfway and then having to spend the money double in.
Yeah.
10 years later.
Yeah.
I would encourage you to do it right this time. You will be there a minimum of 5 years, whoever's.
Sure.
Please.
Yeah.
A minimum, so
About 10.
why not do it right, get new carpet? Those pillars need totally refaced.
Mhm.
When you reface them, maybe you'll make it a little bit smaller, but they pretty much are what they are. Do it right. Yeah, don't.
I agree with you.
Hodgepodge it. You've got brand new windows in the place.
Yeah, we don't want to hide them.
Don't shim the carpet, get it carpeted.
Yeah.
If you.
How long is that carpet again? We discussed it.
It's gotta be 25 years.
No, it's like 10 years old.
I don't think it's even that.
Yeah, I mean, not even 10, but even on the desk, if you want to get different desks, and now the time to get different desks, those you can't reconfigure as is. You don't have to have custom made like that.
And to do a straight run, you know, we don't need all those file cabinets in there. You might on yours, but I never use that stuff. Just a pencil drawer, a nice pencil.
Live without it. Commissioners, get new chairs. This is going to be this way a minimum of 5 years.
There's no sense in fixing.
Those chairs, if you look at the color of the carpet, match the carpet.
No.
That'll make the existing there.
Some of them are breaking down already. But I agree with that. I mean, I don't know if we need to do a whole architectural scheme.
Like I say, it really doesn't matter to make something short term. And I think two of the previous ones well, so.
Maybe all of us. Need one.
it's a help. Don, we got some direction.
But you'll find it's more like this arrangement, what we got.
Yeah.
Usually more rate.
Or these side desks wouldn't even have to be at an angle, they could be straight anyway. Maybe still, well, but this is a nice arrangement, just that we don't need, three of us don't need this big of a space.
No, it's not that. It's not, it's all.
We could have some nice pencil drawers, and that's really.
I think 4 foot, each of those tables there is 4 foot.
But
That's about what,
I do think.
I'll step here, then.
Smaller, yeah, I do, crap.
Yeah, either two out of the floor. I'm currently back there.
Yeah, there is
some
citizen.
drawers underneath.
I
and
really
that
like
would
this.
take- Yeah, I do too.
This is much nicer than what we had that.
To look the presenter and the screen at the same time is really nice. Rather than the presenter having their back to the.
Yeah, I mean, watch the presenter or watch the screen.
And if they wanted to do a laser, they could do that.
Okay. Thank you.
A little bit of an idea anyway.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, John, thank you for it. It's past time, Mr. Shoot.
Morning, Commissioners. Russell Suki, Riley County Emergency Management and County Fire. Have my monthly staff report. Mostly fairly normal routine stuff. One of the bigger things is I attended the APCO conference in Baltimore, and that was pretty interesting, and presented with a group of people on when we had our radio incident there a year and a half ago now. Well, yeah, basically a year and a half ago. And attended other sessions and learned some interesting stuff and some scary stuff that Corey knows all about, no doubt, on a lot of different cyber things and a lot of different stories on we are not the only one. But also gain the confidence of we have done what we can do to prevent it in the future on the radio system in particular. So it was pretty interesting and educational. Obviously, like John mentioned before, working with the building committee and looking forward to Wednesday to see what the pricing is, official pricing is on the remodel that we're looking at, and anxious to see that. I think I've mentioned before, but I'm on a working group for the statewide radio system, which is currently owned by KDOT and provides radio service across the state at a grainier level than what ours is. Like our radio system is standalone and is designed to reach handheld radios all over the county, where the state system is designed to reach mobile radios in a vehicle with an antenna up on top. Doesn't take near the coverage, but that's the system that we had to revert to when our system went down last year. And it's time for that system. It's about 25 years old, the state system. And so this working group's purpose is to put together a package to take to the legislature and say, hey, it's time to start upgrading the state system and bringing it up to more modern standards. And so they've asked me and a couple of other counties that have their own standalone system to be representative on that committee. One of the goals is to try and get the systems interconnected to where we get the benefit of the state coverage on our perimeters and they get the benefit of using our signal coverage when they're in the interior of our county. But that's a little ways off. Looking forward to planning. Robert Cox, our planner, he's met with 13 out of the 18 department heads since he's started. And he wanted to give a big shout out to the appraiser's office. They've really been, Anna and Steve have really been going gung ho on getting their plans updated, and not that the other department heads haven't, but they've just really dove into it, and he wanted to give them a shout out. Today is the last day. If anybody's interested in making comments or corrections, to send in for the draft of the 2025 mitigation plan that's on the county website out for public review. So just if there's anybody that is interested in looking at and making any comments, today is the final day. As far as other stuff, been pretty relatively routine on calls. We've got decent rains, and so we haven't had any abnormal call loads as far as grass fires. Everything's been relatively normal. As John also mentioned before, Station 110, we're just waiting on the water and sewer lines to be finished up in University Park. And then we can move into the fire station and vacate the old one. We've got our new software fire reporting software online and using it. And there's still some tweaks that Jake's been working on, but so far so good on that. Tonight, or not tonight, tomorrow night, I go up to the city of Riley. They invited me up to talk to them about their fire station. They're the only, other than the city of Manhattan, they're the only other town in the county that still maintains a volunteer fire station on the city's accord. And they wanted me to come up and talk to them a little bit about what it would look like if they closed their fire station and then just had the county fire station in town, which is how Leonardville set up, how Randolph set up, how Ogden set up. And so I'll go up there tomorrow night and have the conversation with them about that. I think that's a quick rundown and kind of get you somewhat back on schedule. I don't know if you have any questions on my staff time report in particular. Then the other item was amendment to the antenna lease that we have with Evergy. Jake and I have worked on that. Basically, in a nutshell, what it is allowing them to put an additional antenna on the tower for an extra $2,000 a year. And so, as I mentioned before, the towers were designed to accept additional equipment to potentially generate additional revenue. Obviously, $2,000 is a drop in a bucket, but every little bit helps. And it's something that I've worked with Lori's GIS staff, and we have a map of all our towers and their geographic locations, their lat and along. And anytime I get the opportunity to get that to a cell phone company, I give it out to them. They come in and want us to, use their service. And I'm like, well, you don't have very good service up here. Here's some towers. We can rent you space on it. And so I hand that out as often as I can. We haven't gotten much bite on it yet, but this is a current lease we have with Evergy, and it would, like I said, it include an additional $2,000 a year. So I think there was a motion.
Yeah, motion.
Well, I would make a motion to approve the chair sign the amendment to the Evergy Drake Tower lease.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the amendment to the Evergy Drake Tower lease. In favor?
Chair, please sign.
Any other questions for me, commissioners? Great, thanks.
And we don't get how many pages. Don't know why, but put it in there and you take it out. Okay.
Yeah. Signature minutes. Sorry.
Okay. Looks like I make a motion into adjourn the August 11th meeting, the Riley County Commission.
I was like,
Been moved and seconded to adjourn the August 11th meeting of the Riley County Commission. All in favor?